I think I am also guilty of this. Hello minor liplings and welcome back to my channel. Last week I made a video on how to not attract toxic people, and as I mentioned that today's topic is how to find if you have any toxic traits in you. So let's get started. How do we know if we are toxic? How do we face that shadow toxic side of us? I don't think you can solve a problem until you know that there is a problem, and so that's really the first step. And if you are watching this video, then you are already taking the first step. Here are the 5 things that could be toxic in you, and that is why you are attracting toxic people. First, you deal with conflict in a roundabout way, aka the passive aggressive way. Passive aggressive way is when you are trying to solve, or when you are trying to deal with a situation, or you're trying to deal with an anger that you have for somebody by not being direct and having a conversation on what is bothering you, but it kind of props up in your conversations where you are taunting them or you want to taunt them. Definitely a very toxic trait. So one way to deal with such situation is take a break, sort it out yourself, and then come back to the conversation and have an open conversation and let them know what you liked and what you didn't like, and try to find a way that either you or them or both can come to a place where you don't get angered or frustrated. And also something very important is there is no deadline for conflict resolution, so you can always come back to them after some time. You first need to calm yourself down a bit and understand the problem and understand what exactly is the thing that bothered you or made you frustrated, and then talk to them and have an open conversation about it. Second, you always have to be right. Problem is you need to fix your ego. I think one way is to shift the narrative from yourself to the other person and try to put yourself in their shoes and think, how would that person feel if I behave in this way or I say this? That helps in understanding if you are overboarding or if you are being toxic to other person. Keep your ego aside for the people you love. Third point, and the one that bothers me the most probably, is mastering the art of being a victim. I am also guilty of being this, until once when I actually met somebody who plays the victim card always, and then I understood how bad a trait it could be, how toxic that trait is, when no matter what happens to you, whatever you have done, like actions have consequences, right? And so you don't want to own up to the actions that you did, and you always play the victim card and say that things happened to me, people did it to me. And I think that's something that you really need to get rid of. You cannot play the victim card always. If you are wondering if this is a toxic trait that you have or you don't have, then one good way of checking it is imagine how many times in your life have you actually felt like a victim, and if that situation had something where you had actually initiated that thing to you or something of that sort. So this is a good checkpoint for you. Victim card is cancerous and it will eat up all of your insight. It is a way of deflecting responsibilities or holding yourself accountable for the things that you do or the actions that you have performed. You think, will people hurt us? Hell yes, they would. But if you are constantly feeling hurt, then I think it's time for you to see why you are feeling hurt all the time, and whether it's really that you are feeling hurt or whether it's like you are not taking some actions that you need to in order to not get hurt. So it's good to look back and see your actions and analyze it. Fourth point, the judgment. Toxicity thrives on gossip, complaining, and criticism. Have you ever noticed how drained you feel when you talk to somebody who all they do is just complain about everything in their lives? I personally feel extremely drained when I meet such people who are always complaining about everything in their life. And I think that's a very, very toxic trait. So you really need to check yourself out of that. Good fix for this is you really need to shift your thoughts to this, that do I really want to focus on other people and other people's business than my own? Do I really don't want to fix myself first? Try to make myself the better version of me. Most of the time, having empathy really helps. Sometimes you don't understand why the other person is behaving in a certain way, and so it really helps if you are empathic and you understand if the person might have done something because of their personal issues, of something that's happening in their life. So I think being kind would help. Fifth trait: if you push your truth on others. Sometimes we discover something profound in our life journey, and then we want everybody to believe in it, everybody to benefit from our realization, not understanding that everybody is on a different journey and at different phases of life, and that my truth cannot be everyone's truth. A good fix to this would be give other people space, give other people time, respect to discover themselves and their own truths. Your role in other people's life is not to save them, but to support them, to respect them, and to be there next to them when they're going through a crisis. I said 5, but I have one more trait that I want to discuss that I recently came across on Instagram. Don't be a conversational narcissist. Has it ever happened to you when you are trying to discuss your problem or something that you're going through in your life with a friend, and they're like, oh yes, this has also happened to me, and then I went there and then I did that and then this is how I solved it and stuff, and you are like, okay, but that's not what our conversation was. It was about me, and I thought you would want to help me on my journey on how in my situation I can get out of it. So yes, this is what I want to talk about. Don't be a conversational narcissist. Not everything has to circle back to your experience. If you really want to help somebody, then try to put yourself in their shoes, in their circumstances, and try to find a solution for them if you really want to help them. These are the 5/6 traits that could be toxic in you, and so you could work on them. Then you could go out and have a more healthy relationship. That's all for now. See you next week. Bye.